So I figure as someone who has a YouTube channel with quite a bit of devotion to Superman, I probably should have talked about the film, the 2025 film. And I actually did produce several videos and I never released them because I just didn't I didn't think they were that fantastic and I want to watch the movie again. So I've seen a lot of YouTube shorts and videos calling the movie a flop, or maybe in the title questioning, was it a flop? And so I kind of want to address that as someone who, in his real life, does a lot of data analysis. I kind of wanted to look at the numbers and figure out whether it is a flop or not. And I know somebody might say, well, what does it matter? As long as you enjoyed the film, it's irrelevant. Well, I would say if you enjoyed Superman Returns, it probably mattered that it face planted, because that ended Superman in the theaters for 7 years. Although it's been actually 8 years, the gap between Justice League and Superman. So we're gonna look at some numbers here and try and draw a conclusion. Uh, Financially, it made 616 million, 616 $584 million worldwide. That is less than Justice League, Batman versus Superman, Man of Steel. Particularly Batman versus Superman, which made 874. So I can't imagine that Warner Brothers was thrilled with that number, but there's a lot more to it than that. I had said that a really good Superman movie should be able to gross $1 billion, and so this fell far short of that. In fact, it's not on here, but the Aquaman movie, this is the first one, made over $1 billion. So I think that there's a lot of interest in Superman. So where did Superman land in 2025? Superman came in eighth overall in total gross. Two of the movies actually were foreign films. So if you look at just U.S. made films, it was sixth. Now, so you had Jurassic World Rebirth, How to Train Your Dragon, and I think I guess a live action Lilo and Stitch, which made over $1 billion. So I didn't see that. Minecraft movie I know was a big hit, and that's also Warner Brothers. So eighth is certainly not bad. In fact, it is the highest grossing superhero movie. The number 10 is the Fantastic Four, which with 521 million, I still feel like as popular as the Fantastic Four, that Superman should, the gap between Superman and the Fantastic Four should be larger. So let's look at something else, because times have changed. The world has changed, and it was accelerated by COVID. I did not see the 2025 Superman movie in the theaters. I watched all of these other, Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, Justice League, Superman Returns. I watched all of them in the theater. In fact, I may have watched all of these except Supergirl. I don't think I watched that in the theater. I watched all, but I didn't watch Superman in 2025 in the theaters. That's because times have changed. And these numbers here are only tracking ticket sales. I rented it probably a month and a half or so after it came out. I did it. It was streaming. It was over $20, but I rented it, and a friend of mine and I watched it. I He and I kind of agreed that it was like a solid B. And if you look down here at the the rating, so it has 83% Rotten Tomatoes, is 68% Metacritic. So the 83% is the highest since Superman 1978 and Superman 2. And certainly higher than like Quest for Peace. Superman Returns inexplicably had a 72%. And okay, I mean, that's a crazy score. Now, see, Metacritic has Superman Returns ahead of Superman 2025. That's crazy. It was a fine movie, but I don't think it was as good as Man of Steel. Man of Steel, I would have given an A. Superman, I give a B. And so from the cinema score, and I don't really have much respect for the cinema score. since almost every movie gets high grades, it got an A minus. So I don't know. It's almost like when you're walking out of a theater, you just wanna love it because you just paid a bunch of money. So I don't really have much respect for that. But I'd like to do some more videos talking about why I don't think it was a spectacular Superman movie. Again, I think it was much better than Superman Returns. Certainly better than Justice League, and I would say better than Superman 3, Superman 4. But I will get into. I bought the movie now, so I can watch it as many times as I want, and then I will try to collect my thoughts. Sometimes it takes multiple viewings to really get an impression of what you think. So in terms of cost, it was $225 million, which put it number four for 2025. Uh, and it's interesting because of those top of the four highest, those are movies over $200 million. Only Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning was in the top 10, and that came after Superman. That came number 9, right after Superman. So I wanted to look at something else because, again, the world has changed. So a lot of the revenue is coming from other places, particularly streaming. If you really are patient, then, and I often am, you'll just wait till it's on Netflix or Amazon and watch it for free. So they must be getting money. They're obviously getting money from Netflix and Amazon. So that's not really calculated in. The 225 million that they spent, the rule of thumb is that the advertising is take that number and double it. So that would be 450 million. And so it made money. It definitely made money. So if you were going to call it a flop, it probably would be more like, well, what was their expectations? What is the expectation for a Superman movie? And if you go in here, so we got this is ranks between 2.2 million. So this or 2.2 billion. This I think is a Chinese film, made a ridiculous amount of money. Then the number 10 there is 521 million. So if you go back to 2017, what were things like in 2017, 8 years ago? In 2017, you had 4 movies over $1 billion. And the lowest in the top 10 was Wonder Woman with $822 million. You had four different superhero movies over 800 million. So I think that this is not an accurate assessment of how well it did, because I'm sure that there's all sorts of other money coming in, whether it's from rentals or digital sales or physical sales or whatever, all the other revenue sources. And I think the other revenue sources make up a lot of the money. So, for instance, the theater that's closest to my house closed down. Now, there's other theaters that I could go to, but it shows you, actually 2 of the theaters closed down that were very close to me, that more and more people are choosing to watch at home. I'm not really watching any movies in theaters right now. I've got a 65-inch TV. I can rent the movie. There's very few movies where it's like I have to have the experience of going to the theater. So anyway, my point is I'm going to go through the movie more in future videos, but I don't know what Warner Brothers' reaction is. I don't know what their feelings are. I didn't really investigate it. But from a financial standpoint, yes, I'm sure it made quite a bit of money, and more than just that 450 or 616 million minus 450, whatever the difference is. I'm sure it made far more than that, but I think that it was not what they wanted it to be from a artistic standpoint. People seem to like it, but I thought it had some issues. So I would say no, it is not a flop, and hopefully they will have more. I think I'm not thrilled that they switched actors, which to me they didn't need to, but that's a corporate decision, and that's the way it is. I thought that, what was his name? David Cornsweet? I can't remember his name. David Cornsweet. Yeah, I thought he did a fine job. He's fine as Superman. But anyway, I will produce some more videos, and I'd love to hear from people their thoughts on Superman 2025.